And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
Thank you for tuning in to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis. I am here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. to talk about anything and everything related to real estate. For more information about me, feel free to visit my website at michaelgaddis.com. That's michaelgaddis.com. Today I have a very special guest during my first segment. I have an attorney that specializes in bank litigation. Now, as most of you know, in my legal practice, I help people obtain loan modifications with banks. I negotiate with banks. Now, my strategy to negotiate with banks is more of an amicable one. But what happens when my ability to amicably negotiate your loan modification doesn't work? Well, the first thing we like to do is try to get an opinion of somebody who is an expert in dealing with banks in a litigation scenario. So my special guest today is Brian Andrews of BrianCAndrews.com. Brian, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's my great pleasure, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Brian, what is the first thing you do when you get somebody that calls you and says, I want to sue the bank?
Well, that's probably a loaded question. I could give you 10 answers to. It's going to vary greatly depending on their immediate circumstances, but obviously the first thing we like to do is what's called triage, which is figure out where they are in the foreclosure process and figure out what tools we have available to help stop that first sale. That's a critical part. If you can't stop the first sale, the leverage and the possession of the property is quickly lost, and the negotiating ability that's due to follow is prejudice. So probably the first thing we have to do is to figure out where they are in that process. And Michael, I'll reflect and repeat what you just said about an amicable solution, because you got to get down and fight with these folks sometimes just to get them to come back and discuss what should have been amicable solutions. And you need a law firm that's done that a few times and that knows the cast of characters involved, as I'm proud to say Andrews Law Group has done since 2008, when the so-called financial crisis put us where we are today.
Well, I think you pointed out something that's really important, is that most of the time when people finally get around to calling you or me, they usually are facing a trustee sale. They're usually really deep into the foreclosure process. Most people tend to be reactive rather than proactive. Is that the same? Is that the way you find it to be?
It is, and it's regrettable. I encourage anyone out there who sees a mortgage problem coming for them, their relatives, their family members, to get out ahead of it. Getting a hold of someone like Michael or I early in the process is going to open up the options that you have. And I think anybody that comes to me is going to first hear me say that we need to try those amicable approaches that your office does so well, and that litigation ought to be a last resort. But even having said that, litigation is still frequently needed. I'm popular of saying that when you're to the point where every other solution has exhausted itself, what choice remains? You'd be business-wise, principle-wise, any other way you want to measure it, foolish not to go down with some sort of a fight. And I'm real proud to say most everybody we've been able to help, we've been able to leave them in a better place than where we found them, something that was worth engaging our services for. But again, you got to rush in, you got to know the cast of characters and whom to sue, and stop that first sale and get that discussion started again. There's a rare group of people who will want to go all the way to trial against banks and take depositions and really slog it out for the long run. And frankly, I enjoy those cases most of all when the financing is there. We get to show our chops in that regard. But I'm always quick to try to find that path to a solution. Because most people aren't really in a position to litigate, all the way to the trial and cover those expenses, those expert costs and whatnot. But you have to come on with a strong face, and you have to appear that way, and you have to be aggressive enough and have enough experience dealing with the firms and the lenders that are involved to get everybody back to the table and hopefully solve it, or if not, fight it to the point where whatever best resolution and bang for the buck can be achieved. But if you're going to lose a house, go down fighting. Don't just take some cash for keys. Don't sit back and do nothing. Don't wait until the sale's 2 weeks away and call Michael and, with your hair on fire. We'll, of course, do all we could to help you, but get out ahead of that situation. Your options will be a lot better.
Well, I think what happens is a lot of people believe pie in the sky. There's a lot of you driving right now who are thinking, well, I'm on the verge of losing my house, but I think I've heard, things like, I will produce the note and all of these other legal theories that can get me a free house. And, I think that's a very frustrating, part for me, and I know it's for you, because people's expectations of what they're entitled to and how this is going to go down isn't exactly in line with reality. Would you say that's true?
It is that, and the quick digression on the produce the note argument. Again, I'm fond of saying that if old-fashioned and traditional real property laws were applied to these situations we're confronted with securitized mortgages, where the actual owners are somewhat mysteriously hidden in a series of trusts and other documents, I honor and respect the people that want to take that fight to the mat. If old-fashioned property law were applied to these situations, you'd have a colorable argument that none of these mortgages are really enforceable, because nobody can really prove the proper chain of ownership that led them into the trust they claim to be representing. But it's a process the courts are just not engaging, Michael, and I think that's your point. Again, I admire this fight, and if you have to use these type of fights, we use them where we can, but I agree with your point wholeheartedly, twofold, that a lot of these theories people think they understand because of their understandings of the way real property law has always functioned are not really being applied to the problems that we have with securitized and otherwise disputed mortgage notes. And two, that the way to deal with that is to come in early. So you have all those options. You have, if someone's done enough research, they think they have that fight and they're ready to finance it, I'm ready to take that fight on. But don't put your hopes in that. Don't wait to the last minute thinking you understand these theories and thinking that the judge is going to bang the gavel and quiet title to your property, because that's not going to happen. Not anywhere near as easily as you think it is.
Well, when someone calls my office, I kind of go through a hierarchy. I have a waterfall, per se, of how I address people's scenarios. The first thing I do is, if they're current, I try to see if there's any way to refinance them. If there's a way to refinance them, I tell them that's definitely the path of the easiest resistance. It's better to go that way than to try to, go any other way. The second thing I look at, if they can't qualify for that, is to look for a loan modification. I try to assess their information to see if they meet the criteria of what, their particular lender's loan modification criteria would be, to see if they'll satisfy that. And if they have a chance at that, then great. That's, I might recommend that they pursue that type of action. However, it's when we get to a situation where maybe they're on the borderline and maybe they should get a loan modification, but I can see something there that, looks like, I know this particular lender, and this particular lender's not going to do it because of X, Y, and Z. Maybe the bank, the investor on the loan is a mortgage-backed security or something where it creates a lot of resistance for getting a loan modification. That's where I really recommend, suing. And I think a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to sue the bank and I'm just going to win. I think you have to have some substance to what your case is. You just can't go in there and say, I'm going to sue the bank because I'm behind on my payments and they're trying to sue me. Isn't that right?
That's right. I mean, I have a moral obligation. When I file a complaint, I have to find something that states a cause of action within the facts that have led up to your dispute. But I'd say the counter to that is, given the throes of what has happened with mortgage securitization and given the really terrible lender practices that I've witnessed in the way banks deal with loan modifications and a number of other, consumer dispute related issues, I think every borrower probably has a cause of action, Michael. I've rarely met one who couldn't describe to me some series of misrepresentations that led them into default, or some series of events that led them to enter into a contract that I can now prove is predatory. I mean, everyone lived through the go-go late 90s and early 2000s when anybody with a pulse could get a mortgage, and they wouldn't even ask you to fill out your income. They just tell you to leave that blank. and the programs that the banks were sending down to mortgage brokers. And I fault the lender programs, not the mortgage brokers. The brokers can only sell what the lenders offer. And when the lenders open up a door and offer ways to give people loans that they probably would have never, well, no probably about it, that they would have never been approved for had a real underwriting process taken place, I feel like the lenders are left responsible for that. You can't throw open the doors to the candy factory and then complain when the kids end up sick from eating too much candy, because that's what's happened. People have ended up with houses that don't fit them, and banks traditionally would have never agreed to that. And this is why perhaps some of our more conservative audience I'll try to address, that in years past, a mortgage was a secure document. It was something that people respected and paid. I went to the party with my grandparents where they burnt the mortgage after 30 years of paying for their house. And if they couldn't pay a single bill, they paid for the mortgage. And that was then, but this is now. Mortgages aren't underwritten by banks. They don't come and look at you and decide, gee, this is a loan that fits your needs, that you can afford, that's there to help you buy a house. During this go-go time that led up to the crisis of 2008, they would give anybody with a pulse a mortgage because they didn't care whether it ever got paid back or not. They just cared about piling them up and putting them into trust and slicing them and selling them on Wall Street. So this is why I fall back to my point that most lenders out there, in my view, have been somewhat of a pawn in a Ponzi scheme. And then some of them are clean and they've just breached and not paid. And generally, I will tell those folks they need to go negotiate a loan mod, or they need to surrender their property in a short sale because they clearly can't afford it. But people who are in their homes, that can afford their homes, that are losing their homes because of a mortgage Ponzi scheme, I think have a claim in court. But they need a lawyer to help them with it. It's not as simple as a quiet title action, or I'm going to scream for the wet note and the bank won't have it and ha, 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 because it just doesn't work that way.
Well, Brian, you and I could sit here and talk forever about this. And I know that you have a lot of great things to tell people about litigation and things like that. Brian Andrews' website is briancandrews.com. It's briancandrews.com. And I'm telling you, if you are right now driving in your car and you're in danger of losing your house, you need to call Brian C. Andrews. I'm telling you, he is the guy that I would go to if I was having a problem with my house. So thank you for coming in, Brian, and we're definitely going to have you come back because we got cut off way too early. Radio time moves a lot faster than reality sometimes. So after the break, we're going to have a tax professional come in and tell us what you need to do before the end of the year to best plan for your taxes. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
If you've got questions, we've got answers. AM 1170, The Answer.
Hey, Craig Sewing here, consumer activist. You hear me every day at 6 p.m. on KCBQ. My goal is to help you win in any marketplace. One of the things that applies to every single person that listens to our show and that's listening right now, you have a credit score, and more likely than not, it has inaccuracies on it. Nobody seems to understand how these things work. Here's what I can tell you. I have a credit expert that's a partner in the show named Aran Sinai. I call him the credit magician. If you've ever had any issues with your credit, you want to get your scores up, maybe a foreclosure, bankruptcy, or maybe just a collection. The city of San Diego can send parking tickets to collections. Crazy. Well, bad credit's a choice. Reach out to Aran Sinai. How do you do that? You go to our website, AmericanDreamElite.com. AmericanDreamElite.com. Hit me up on the contact form. I'll connect you with Aran. AmericanDreamElite.com. If you've ever had any credit issues whatsoever, AmericanDreamElite.com.
Who would you rather have representing you when buying or selling your home? A real estate agent or a real estate and mortgage broker who is also a licensed California attorney? To sell your home for top dollar, or if you're facing a forced sale due to divorce, probate, short sale, or bankruptcy, you'll need the added value and marketing services of a realtor with the knowledge and experience of a licensed attorney and mortgage broker on your side.
Hi, I'm Michael Gaddis. I give you more, but it doesn't cost you more.
Visit MichaelGaddis.com. That's MichaelGaddis.com. DRE 014654993 and MLS 28001.
Hi, this is AJ Gupta from the Gupta Legal Center. You've probably seen us on the American Dream TV show and the Craig Sewing radio show. We're honored to be featured as the exclusive real estate attorney and honored to be trusted by Craig and all of his top producing realtors. Our office was also featured as a super lawyer representing California's top 5% of attorneys. You may not know whether you need an attorney or not. My suggestion is you kind of have an idea whether there's a problem or a question. So I suggest if you don't know whether you need an attorney or not, give us a call. We're happy to pick up the phone, give you a call back, figure out what it is that you need to have addressed. If we can't or don't know the issue, then we can definitely point you in the right direction. Our phone number is 619-866-3444. That's 619-866-3444, and that's GuptaLC.com. GUPTALC.com.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com. I am here today with Richard Shaw of Shaw Financial Services. And the website for Shaw Financial Services is shawfs.com. He's here today to talk to us a little bit about why you should be doing something instead of nothing. And what do you mean by that? For everyone that thinks that April is the important time for taxes, Richard's here to tell us how that's nonsense, how you should be doing something right now to prepare for your taxes for next year. Richard, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Michael.
So, Richard, why is it so important that people contact their tax person right now to talk about taxes for next year?
Well, the most important reason is once the year is over, it's over. If you're looking to save taxes or do timing correctly, you meet your accountant at the tail end of November or December, and you'll be able to do something. Just ask your accountant for help. Let them know where you stand, and tax planning is going to save you a lot of money.
Well, I want to talk first about businesses. I know most people who are listening, might have some sort of business interest, either a direct business relationship or something. Why is it so important for business owners to discuss tax planning with their accountants right now?
Well, if they don't do tax planning, they could get into a lot of trouble. If there's several different types of entities. There's a C corporation, an S corporation, a Schedule C, a partnership. But if you don't take advantage of what's in those structures and do it right, you're going to pay tax. Example, if at the end of the year you don't take a certain amount of money as salary out of a C corporation, you're going to pay a lot of extra tax for nothing. On another hand, all your other types of entities, whether you took a salary or not, you're going to pay tax. So you better do something inside of the entity to save you tax or outside of the entity to save yourself tax.
Well, you hit on a good point that I don't think a lot of people know. You mentioned C corporation and S corporation. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference between a C corporation and an S corporation?
Well, the best way to look at it is an S corporation is taxed like a partnership. Whatever the profit is of the S corporation is going to be divided among the people who own it. In a C corporation, the tax is paid by the corporation. Now, let's assume you take out money from the corporation as a salary, and that's going to be taxable to you individually. If you didn't take the money out as a salary, you left it in the corporation's going to pay taxes on it. And then guess what? A year from now, 2 years from now, you say, well, I'm going to take that money out that I didn't take out before. It's going to get taxed again. So you could have actually paid 70% taxes on the money. Had you handled it right, you would have paid 40%.
So as a business owner, let's say it's December 1st and I'm sitting there not being concerned about taxes. And let's say you could go in and take a snapshot of what my situation is, assuming that it would be the same at the end of the year. You can basically take a look at what's going on now and say, hey, look, if you were to do X, Y, and Z, you might be able to save a considerable amount of taxes because right now you're on the hook for X amount of dollars. However, if you do this, this, and this, you're only going to have to pay Y. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Exactly. Remember, your accountant is not reading a crystal ball. When you come into your accountant after the year's over, whatever the numbers are, they are. He can't help you anymore. It's a done deal. But if you see him in December and he calculates what your taxable event could be, he should be able to give you not just one choice, but many choices of things you can do to save taxes, to provide certain forms of wealth protection and things like that. Go to see your accountant. Don't wait till next year.
We're talking to Richard Shaw of Shaw Financial Services, shawfs.com, and he was just pointing out the importance of business owners to contact their tax planner right now and not wait until after the end of the year. And I think you brought up a really good point. And I think that point is after December 31st, there's nothing you can do about it. It's stamped in concrete what has occurred during your year. So if you come in ahead of time and you let someone like Richard take a look at your situation, Richard could say, look, right now you're facing a potential tax liability of X. But you know what? Here we can do these particular things to try to bring your liability down. What are some of the things that somebody can do, a business owner can do to bring their tax liability down?
There's lots of things, but let's take a look at certain things depending on whether the taxpayer is a cash basis taxpayer or an accrual basis taxpayer. Well, if it's a cash basis taxpayer and they legally do not bill for certain services, that money's not going to come in. They're not going to have to pay taxes on it. Just the opposite. What if you prepay a year's rent, which you're allowed to pay up to 12 months of expenses? So if you have rent and it's $5,000 a month, at the end of a year, it'd be $60,000. If you paid the $60,000 on December 31st, it's a deduction for 2015, period.
Well, I think that's really interesting because it makes me wonder how many of you listening today actually know how taxes work. And I mean, even as business owners, we get caught up in our everyday, events of what we have to do for our business. But the behind the scenes, the thing that matters a lot is our tax preparation. And it seems like just as you're going through and talking about cash, cash versus accrual basis, these types of things are things that business owners should be aware of. I mean, would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. You need to know where you are. You need an accountant, and your accountant needs to always keep you on board as to where you are tax-wise. If you don't let him know where you are in November, December, how's he going to help you?
I think that's right. What about charitable contributions? Can businesses make charitable contributions?
Businesses can make charitable contributions, but here again, the tax planning accountant is going to say, you don't want to make a contribution from a C corporation. Why? Because the C corporation isn't permitted to deduct 100% of that contribution. You are. So if you wanted to decrease the corporation's income and you took a check to yourself for a salary and donated that amount, your benefit would be greatly enhanced.
Well, I know you gave me some information before we went on the show here today, and one of the things you had mentioned was other business extenders. What are business extenders?
Well, right now, business extenders are things like people are aware of the extra depreciation you can get using Section 179. That's a business extender. Right now, Congress has still not passed the business extenders. There are over 50 that they're looking to pass. The Senate has already passed it. The House has not. It is so important that you talk to your accountant as soon as you know if they've passed. Now, how do you know? Call your accountant. Say, by the way, do I have the use of extenders? Have I been using those extenders? And if he says yes, next question you have to ask is, has the extenders been extended, and do I need to come in to utilize those to the best of my ability?
Well, I have to be honest, Richard. When I was in law school, I took a class in tax law, and when they gave me my book, I swear it was like a foot thick. It was huge, and it bored me to death. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I could not get my head around it. It was just too much. I did fairly well in the class, but it was definitely something that I found a little bit intimidating. And as I look here now at some of the notes that you gave me about, things like income acceleration and some of the other factors, for year-end tax planning techniques, it's just boggling my mind how many things and considerations that a business owner has to take into effect or take into account when they do their tax planning. I mean, it takes someone going to someone like a professional like yourself. I mean, for example, a lot of people try to say, well, I don't want to go to this particular accountant, or I don't want to go that. I'd rather go to to the strip mall and get my taxes done by H&R Block or whoever it might be. What do you say to those people?
I always say that the old expression, you get what you pay for. But what's interesting about that statement is that if you go to H&R Block or some of the other people that we all know exist, and you think you're going to pay less and get as good a job, the answer is no. But interesting enough, if you came to me or you go to your accountant, you're not going to pay him more than H&R Block. It's going to be the same thing, and in fact, you may even pay your own accountant less. But forget the cost. Think of one thing. The real cost is the amount of taxes you're going to pay or not pay. That's the true cost.
Well, I think the key is when you do anything in life, and this is the way I kind of do things, when you do anything in life, you should seek an expert out that knows what they're doing. I mean, I know a lot of people like to take shortcuts, and, I was just talking to an elder care attorney earlier today, and he said a lot of people for estate planning are just going to a mill and, finding some place that says, I can do your estate plan for $250 or something like that. There's an old adage, and there's a reason why it's an adage. You get what you pay for, as you mentioned. And, I don't think that people really realize the benefit that someone like yourself can bring to their business if they just consult with you. And what do people need to do if they want to, let's say they want to consult with you? What do they need to do?
All they have to do is call us and make an appointment, come in and see us. We're not going to charge you for the first appointment. Don't take advantage of how much time you spend with us. And the money we save you is going to be well worth it. And whatever we charge you, you will never be sorry you paid us the money because of the amount of money you're going to save in taxes.
So you're going to give business owners a free opportunity to come in, pick your brain. You can show them what you can do. And then after that, there you go.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, when we get back, we're going to talk to Richard Shaw some more about your personal taxes. I know everyone thinks, tax planning for businesses is important, but it's just as important for homeowners and regular people to do their tax planning as well. So after the break, more with Richard Shaw. You're listening to Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
AM 1170, The Answer.
Hey, San Diego, Craig Sewing here. Look, one of the things that nobody likes to hear is that they got bugs in their home. Almost all California homes have some sort of bug or termite problem. It's not a cool thing to have bugs running around your house, so I'm going to help you get rid of them. I want you to connect with Lloyd's Pest Control. These are our good friends of the Craig Sewing Show. They can help you. They've been in business putting bugs out of business since 1931. They'll do a free inspection for you. If you want to get your biggest investment checked out, make sure there's not bugs or termites, go to LloydPest.com. That's LloydPest.com and get a free inspection of your real estate today.
Did you know that you can make up to 6 times more with vacation rentals than with long-term leasing? By investing in vacation rentals and partnering with Vacasa, you can cash your check while we do all the work. Vacasa is a full-service vacation rental management company. We handle everything from guest marketing and booking to home maintenance and security. If you want more information about Vacasa, please visit online or call 503-305-4520. Again, that's 503-305-4520. Or visit Vacasa.com. That's Vacasa.com. Vacasa, vacation rentals made easy.
Hey, Craig Sewing here. There's no shortage of commercials out there, whether it's TV, radio, even social media. And heck, I even saw an infomercial for solar. You see it everywhere these days. Well, it's because solar is important. It can reduce your electric bill. It's good for the planet. and it's just a great thing to do with your home. It can add value to it. However, there is so much misinformation. Just because somebody is out there advertising does not make them a reliable source. I want to introduce you to my good friends with Baker Electric Solar. The owner, Mike Teresa, I've got to know him really well. This is the only company that I would recommend for you to reduce your electric bill through solar energy. Such a smart move. It's time to do it. Here's how you reach out to them. BakerElectricSolar.com. BakerElectricSolar.com. They will talk to you for free. They'll give you an assessment, and they will help you reduce that electric bill. And again, this is the only group that I trust. BakerElectricSolar.com.
Who would you rather have representing you when buying or selling your home? A real estate agent or a real estate and mortgage broker who is also a licensed California attorney? To sell your home for top dollar, or if you're facing a forced sale due to divorce, probate, short sale, or bankruptcy, you'll need the added value and marketing services of a realtor with the knowledge and experience of a licensed attorney and mortgage broker on your side.
Hi, I'm Michael Gaddis. I give you more, but it doesn't cost you more.
Visit MichaelGaddis.com. That's MichaelGaddis.com. DRE 0146543 and MLS 28001.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. We're going to continue our discussion with Richard Shaw of Shaw Financial Services, Inc. That's shawfs.com if you want more information about Shaw Financial Services. That's shawfs.com. Now, in the last segment, we talked a lot about businesses. But I think the one thing that hits everyone, no matter if they're a business owner or not, is that we all have to pay taxes. And tax planning is important to us all. And it's just important for us to contact our tax professional before the end of the year as it is for a business. Isn't that correct, Richard?
Absolutely.
I mean, tell us a little bit about why it's so important for an individual, not a business, to contact someone like yourself before the end of the year.
Well, an individual needs tax planning as well, especially if the individual has sold property. He wants to know where he stands, whether he had a profit or no profit. Was he renting the home? He wants to be able to take advantage of taking a bonus, getting a bonus in the current year, or asking his boss, gee, can you give me the bonus in January? That'll save him some taxes. You want to look at your capital gains. If you take a certain amount of capital gains today and you raise your tax bracket because you took capital gains right at the end of the year, you may have done yourself more harm than good, because it puts you in a different tax bracket, and certain deductions that you would have normally be able to take, you wouldn't be able to take. So you always have to understand that. Another thing with an individual, and I think most individuals don't even know this, but if they've been investing in their own business or a small business of their friends, and the business isn't worth $50 million, and they sell that stock, they could take that money, open up their own business, and pay zero taxes on the money that they made as a profit. They also could invest that money with another friend, and again, the gain would be tax-free. Also, look at your portfolio, talk to your stockbroker, and make sure that you take enough capital losses to offset capital gains if they exist, and always take short-term losses against long-term losses, because the advantage is very substantial. Short-term losses are ordinary income, basically. Long-term losses are taxed at 20%. If you take a short-term loss to offset a long-term gain, you really increase it, because short-term losses, if there are no gains, you can only deduct up to $3,000.
Well, let me tell you a story. When I first moved to California from Kansas City, Missouri, the home of the championship Royals, by the way, I just had to sneak that in there. But when I moved here, I originally didn't own a house. I didn't own a house, in fact, until 2002. And I was paying taxes, and I didn't really pay much attention to it because I didn't really realize the importance of tax planning. I purchased a house, and after the first year I was in the house, I finally decided to get a tax professional to help me, do my taxes. So when I did it, she sent me over the forms. I noticed I was getting a lot of money back, and it scared me. And I called her and I said, I have to ask you a question. Are you doing something a little bit? Because I'm a straight, black and white kind of guy. I'm not the gray kind of person. She says, no. She goes, not at all. She says, you bought a house, correct? And I said, yes. And she says, well, welcome to the world of home ownership. She says the tax benefit that you got from owning that house is what, basically allowed us to give you the kind of return that you got. And I was amazed. And that's just a simple example of tax. I mean, that's a very basic 101 type situation. So someone like yourself, who is exponentially more qualified per se than the person who did my taxes back in 2002, I mean, you could probably take my situation and say, hey, that was great, but I can do even better. I mean, is that kind of what you do?
Well, we do that because we don't just look for the home interest deduction or the sales tax. I mean, the state property tax. There's other things. If you're using your home as an office, we might be able to deduct part of that. If you're using your home as an office, we might be able to take advantage of a deduction for using your car. But we also emphasize that when you refinance your home, be careful, because if you take a loan for $500,000 and you only owed $300,000, you might not be able to deduct the interest on 100 of that 200,000. It is better to borrow money and then take that money and put it into an investment other than use it for play of games.
Well, I think what it comes down to is, you see a lot of computer programs, well, you can just plug in the little areas and it'll spit out what you owe in taxes. But I think that seems to be, like you were saying, you don't just take the regular, here's your interest rate tax deduction, here's your property tax deduction, here's your state income tax. You look at it more in a micro kind of way and try to say, you know what, you might not have thought of this, but I can do this, this, and this. And you ask questions. You actually try to save your people money. Is that right?
Absolutely, because if I don't save you money, I'm not doing you justice.
Yeah, so the goal is to basically, you say, well, look, I'm going to basically whatever fee someone has to pay someone like yourself is going to be more than made up in the benefit that you're going to end up providing them.
Absolutely. Let's take an example of a couple that's either deciding to get married or get divorced. On January 1st, if you get married, you are a married couple for the full year. On December 31st, if you get a divorce, you're single for the entire year. Well, you have to look at what is known as the marriage penalty. So let's assume you and your wife are making about the same amount of money. Isn't it better to finalize your divorce on December 31st so that you file as two single individuals? The answer is absolutely yes. The tax savings can be enormous. They could pay for your divorce.
Right. So it seems like people should just really generally be proactive rather than reactive. And I give this example all the time. It's kind of like you're standing on railroad tracks and, you hear a train coming. Do you get off the railroad tracks right when you hear it, or do you wait until it almost hits you before you get off the tracks? And I think most people will say, well, you should get off the tracks right away. And I think that means planning. If you know you have to pay taxes, that's the bell you hear in the distance of the train coming. So you might as well plan. Get off the tracks, talk to a tax professional who can guide you through that process, because simply going and buying one of those online, tax forms or running down to the strip mall, it's not going to give you the benefit of having somebody who has years and years and years of experience trying to help taxpayers save money. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely, Mike. What you have to think about is what I advise clients. If you come in at the end of a year and you show me a contract that you signed and you didn't show it to me before you signed it, that contract may hurt you tax-wise. So I want you to bring in the contract before you sign it. Not that I'm an attorney, but I'm going to look at that piece of paper as a way for you to deduct taxes. As far as whether or not you should stay married or stay single, that's something you look at. But every item that you pay taxes on, and whatever item you can forestall receiving money or increase, you can do the same thing theoretically as a business. You can prepay up to 12 months of a deduction and take it for that year of 2015, for example. And let's assume in 2015, it's been the best year you've had in a long time. Well, prepay your interest for a year on your house, and all of a sudden the tax savings is huge. So you have to look at each year. Are you going to do better this year or next year? And then you throw the deductions into the year that's the best income, and you throw losses into the year of the highest income.
Well, I think that that's really important that, when you're driving around out there or you're listening right now, I think what you need to do is call your tax professional before the end of this year. And I'm not talking about calling them on December 30th. Call them, give them a head start. You need to talk to somebody like Richard Shaw who actually knows the ins and outs of taxes, because it's going to save you a ton of money. If nothing else, just call him just to see what he could do. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything to do that. Find out. Maybe he can't do anything. Maybe he can. But you're not going to find out if you do nothing. If you just wait until December 31st comes around, and then next day is January 1st, game's over. You're stuck with what you've got for the previous year. Richard Shaw of Shaw Financial Services has joined us today. That's shawfs.com. And yes, Richard,
I'd like to say one more thing. The month of December is a holiday month. People want to have fun. They're looking at New Year's. They're looking at Christmas. They just got off of Thanksgiving. The biggest Christmas present you will get is by going to your accountant in December, because of the money he's going to save you.
So give yourself a Christmas present, an early Christmas present. You contact Shaw Financial Services at shawfs.com. That's shawfs.com. After the break, we're going to go and see or talk about an amazing listing in Fallbrook, California. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
AM 1170, The Answer.
Hi, this is John Beaudry, the landscape contractor. There's nothing I enjoy more than helping San Diegans create gardens where they can spend time outdoors in our fantastic weather and save money on their water bills. I've helped hundreds of people create outdoor spaces where they can literally live outdoors. If you need help with your landscape, I'll be happy to discuss it with you for free. No strings attached, just great advice. My number is 619-929-9140, or visit me online at beaudrydesign.com. That's BEAUDRY design.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Who would you rather have representing you when buying or selling your home? A real estate agent or a real estate and mortgage broker who is also a licensed California attorney? To sell your home for top dollar, or if you're facing a forced sale due to divorce, probate, short sale, or bankruptcy, you'll need the added value and marketing services of a realtor with the knowledge and experience of a licensed attorney and mortgage broker on your side.
Hi, I'm Michael Gaddis. I give you more, but it doesn't cost you more.
Visit michaelgaddis.com. That's Michael, Gaddis.com. DRE 0146543 and MLS 28001.
Your home should be a place that you love coming to. Hi, I'm Nikki Klug, interior designer, and there is nothing I enjoy more than helping San Diegans live in homes that they fall madly in love with. I've helped hundreds of homeowners experience a sense of luxury, rejuvenation, and inspiration in their everyday lives. If you need help creating a home that you love, please visit me online at nikkiklugdesign.com or call me at 619-948-7173.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com. Every now and then, I get a listing in my office that is special. It doesn't happen that often that I get one that is so special that it just garners so much interest. But I happen to have a particular listing like that right now. The listing agent is Will Avzali of Michael Gaddis JD Realty Group, and he's going to be here today to talk about 2927 Lakemont in Fallbrook, California. And let me tell you something. This house is amazing.
Amazing.
I thank you, Will. I mean, it is true. I'm not just saying that because it happens to be our listing, but I'm telling you, this house is incredible. Right now, just to give you a little bit of statistics about it, it is a 3-bedroom, 4-bath home with an optional 4th bedroom. And so it has total of 4 total potential bedrooms and 4 baths. Has 2 parking garage spaces and is 3,700 square foot, and it's built in 1974. Now, don't be deceived by the fact that it was built in 1974, because this house has been fully renovated. This is an amazing house. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's got a lot of upgrades.
Okay, what are some of the things that make this house? I mean, I'll say in a minute after you finish, I'll jump in, but just tell us a little bit about what makes this property so special.
Well, the seller totally renovated the property. I'm talking new cabinets throughout the whole house, new granite throughout. It's actually a special type of granite called the African Persa. There's new interior and exterior painting, which totally brightens up the home. You have a new garage door. You have a new exterior lighting. You have stainless steel appliances in there. You have a new range with LED lighting, new indoor barbecue grill, new stone finishes. I mean, you have drought-free landscape. You have a koi pond. You have a sun deck. You have a fire pit. You have a place to entertain. I mean, you have a private entrance for 2 bedrooms on the first floor. Not to mention, one of the biggest perks about this home is the master bedroom. The master bedroom is connected to a room next to you that's got like a retreat. And the retreat is bigger than the master bedroom. And the master bedroom is huge. Every bathroom in that house is fully upgraded. I'm talking from the floor to the countertops to the shower.
Well, I saw some aerial shots that you had taken by a drone, I believe.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. This house, these drone shots are amazing. And, one of the things I think that really makes this property really stand out, one is the view. Mm-hmm. I mean, it has a great view. You go outside into the backyard, and there's this pool there that is just, I mean, it's amazing. It's like a resort-style pool with a view that is just to die for. So I think that drone that drone picture really captures the full landscape of this particular property.
Absolutely. And the balcony in the backyard is, I mean, literally over 18 feet in length.
That's a huge balcony.
A huge balcony.
Which just in that balcony just gives you an even better view than what you do on the first level. The other thing I think that's really, really important about this particular house is that it's in Fallbrook, and I know what everybody thinks. Oh, Fallbrook is characterized by larger, lots, and sometimes there's a lot of avocado trees, things like that. This particular property is located. It's a big lot, but it's not a huge lot. It's on a little over a quarter of an acre, and it's low maintenance. Everybody's concerned right now with the cost of water, that the water's going up and they're putting water restrictions in place. But this property has a very low maintenance yard, and I think that's really important when someone's shopping for a house today. But I think probably, just to jump on, and I'll let you talk some more, Will, I'm just so excited about it, I have to talk about it, is the kitchen in this house. That is probably, we posted a lot of pictures on our company's website and our social media, and the pictures that are getting getting the most likes is the kitchen. The kitchen is huge, and it has, as you were mentioning, this granite countertops, which are just beautiful. So it has beautiful granite countertops, and it is huge. You do not see kitchens like this today.
No, you don't. And the seller, when they purchased the home, we had to renovate the kitchen. The kitchen was in terrible shape. We extended it, expanded it, and like you said, we beautified it. New granite countertops, new stainless steel, LED oven range. I mean, we've expanded the whole kitchen, made it more of an intelligent layout. And like you said, the pictures themselves, we're getting a lot of positive feedback from it.
Well, what about bedrooms? Now, I know it has 3 bedrooms with an optional 4th bedroom. 2 questions for you.
Sure.
1, does it have bedrooms downstairs? And 2, what is the optional bedroom?
Yeah, so you have 2 bedrooms downstairs located on opposite sides of the house. So you have a west wing and an east wing. Again, this house is enormous. It's 3,700 square feet. And in between this, you have a kitchen, a major loft room where you can put a pool table, you can put a gym in there, you can put a lot of stuff in there. So you have each bedroom with its own private bathroom, fully upgraded, and each one has its own entrance as well.
Wow. So each one has an ensuite bath with it.
Correct.
What about the master bedroom? Is the master bedroom upstairs or downstairs?
It is upstairs.
And so the master bedroom is upstairs. Tell us about it. Is it large?
Oh, it's very large. It's got its own, obviously, a very nice bathroom with a large balcony. The balcony also kind of swings over to the other room, which is the optional 4th. And that's where you can have like a mega office or a great game room or a retreat for, husband and wife.
Now, this property is located near the Fallbrook Golf Course. So tell us a little bit about where it's located and what the neighborhood itself is like.
This is pretty much the king of the hill. I mean, this is one of the bigger homes in the community. You're located right by the golf course. And although this property is in Fallbrook, it's actually important to note, Mike, that it's actually in the Bonzil School District. And you know how good the Bonzil School District is.
Yeah, I was unaware of that. The Bonzil School District is definitely a very good school district.
So if you're thinking about, a school district for your kids, you happen to fall right in the Bonzil, which is an excellent school district.
Well, Will, what about, so just going back to the views a little bit more, because when I was looking at the pictures, the views are just really, and I was looking at comps recently in Fallbrook, and a lot of the comps that are coming up, they don't have views like this.
No, they don't.
And I know that right now in Fallbrook, homes are not quite selling as fast as they are. I mean, the whole real estate market in general is down right now. It's slowing down. For many reasons. One is we're in November, December, which is the tail end of the year, and during the holiday times, real estate is always traditionally slow. But Fallbrook definitely tails behind a lot of the rest of the communities in North County. Maybe because it is more rural based. It's not necessarily, I wouldn't characterize as a rural community, but it is more, agrarian based, that type of thing. There's a lot of nurseries, avocado, groves, things like that. So the market times to sell properties are not quite, as they are in other areas, even though the other areas are slowing as well. Mm-hmm. So with this particular property, I did notice when I was looking through last night, there's a lot of comps. Well, there's not a lot of comps. First of all, I'll just tell you that there's not a lot of things that are comparable to this. It's really hard.
It's a very unique property.
That's right. It's very difficult for me on the radio right now to tell you listeners that there's a lot of houses comparable to it, because there are no houses comparable to it. It's a unique property. It's not a track house. It's very unique, and it's highly upgraded. A lot of the houses that are on the market right now competing against it do not have what this house has. They do not either have pools, and if they do have pools, they're not this quality of pool. They do not have views, and they do not have the upgrades that this particular property has.
And a koi pond.
And it has a koi pond as well. Mm-hmm. So what are you seeing in Fall? I mean, everyone's heard what I have to say, but Will, what are you seeing in Fallbrook right now?
In what regards?
Well, I mean, as far as the competition in the area, things like that.
Oh, I mean, just because it's my listing, I'm telling you, looking at all the homes that are on the market, this property is the nicest property out there in Fallbrook. Price-wise, and just the property itself. I mean, you look at the layout, it's very intelligent. Every room is large. You have a large dining room. You have 2 large bedrooms on the first floor with a large bathroom, private entrance. You have a large, like a bonus room as well. You have a large family room. And you also have a bathroom that kind of leads out to the pool. It's actually a pool bathroom, and we designed it so when people come in from the pool, we know that people are going to spill water on the floor. That just happens. So the vanity is lifted so that you don't damage the vanity. You have a nice custom shower in there as well, so your guests can come from the pool and go directly into the shower.
Now, Will, you as I mentioned earlier, you had a drone come in that basically took aerial shots of above the house, but the drone also, I believe, did photographs inside the house as well.
Correct, yeah. We have to take photography throughout the house. I mean, this house is obviously really, really nice.
So where do people see pictures of the house, Will? Where would you steer them to really get a good gauge for where this particular property is located?
You can obviously Google the property if you want. Go on michaelgaddis.com and look for it. You can also just Google 2927 Lakemont in Fallbrook, California. If you want, give me a call. I'm not sure if you guys know, but we also have a 15% down because this property would qualify as a jumbo loan, which is traditionally 20% down. But we have a program where you can get 15% down with no mortgage insurance.
So just to tie up a few notes before we leave here, the property is located at 2927 Lakemont in Fallbrook, California. It is priced currently. The seller will entertain offers between $698 and $724. $698 to $724. And you know what? That is a deal. On a price per square foot basis, I mean, your seller is basically giving this house away at that price.
And it's turnkey, meaning you move in. It's ready to go. It's a beautiful place.
Well, I could sit here and talk about 2927 Lakemont all day. And I'm telling all you listeners right now, if you are thinking about buying a house in Fallbrook or anywhere in that area, you need to visit this property or you will regret it.
And give me a call if you want to take a look at the property. I'll be happy to give you a private showing. My number is 619-274-3877. One more time, that's 619-274-3877. I'm Will Afzali with the Michael Gaddis team.
Well, I want to thank Will Afzali for joining me today. That's about all we have for today. Thank you for listening to the Michael Gaddis Show, and I'll be back here next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Good night, San Diego.
Despite evidence of extremely low inflation, the Fed appears set for a rate hike in December. Prices for imported goods fell for the fourth consecutive month in October, thanks to cheap oil, the strong U.S. dollar, and slow overseas growth. Import prices fell 0.5% from the prior month. Meanwhile, national foreclosure inventory fell 24.3%, and completed foreclosures fell 17.6% compared to September of last year. Conforming no-point 30-year fixed mortgage rates averaged 4%, with 15-year rates closer to 3.25%. Now for something completely different. Did you know why Veterans Day is celebrated on November 11th? It's because World War I ended on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. For more information on home loans or real estate, visit our website at aramco.biz or call me at 800-600-7021. This is Meron Aram for The Craig Sewing Show.